In this session, we're going to be making the red flowers for our poppies. I'm going to take this and I'm going to use the outside water cups here to make the three colors that I want. I'm going to want a red, so I'm going to get red out of my palette here, and I'm going to get it a little wash right there. And then I want a reddish orange, so I'm actually going to take this red orange that's here and make a wash with that red orange. Okay, and then the brown and the black we don't really need to make washes out of, because those are gonna work out pretty easily with just a little bit of water. All right, so here we go. And notice how I put a little bit of water in those so they can loosen up as we pass through here. Now I'm going to take my red, not my red orange, but my red, and I'm going to just wash it right over the top of my poppies. And if you get it in a little bit around the edges, that's okay. Try to be loose and fluid. And notice how I control my brush as I move it around. Try to get it up to the edges, but if you go a little over, that's all right. You know, be spontaneous about this. And here's my other petals in here. Notice how I did not wet these areas of my paper because I wanted that red to be fairly strong, and that I'm almost making a wash with the red already. There's my like dulled down red. Now I'm going to go back and kind of just blot this out a little bit. So we've got like that background color, and notice how I kind of control my color with the blotting, which is you know a new technique probably for some of you. All right, now I'm going to go back with this red orange and add some new areas of color. And I might even, depending on what I got here, I might actually go back, and I'm just going to use pure red orange. I'm going to skip my wash, and I kind of have that wash already. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of almost painting in the petals. All right, with this, which is we want to have some areas of that first wash, and we want to have some areas that appear to be petals. All right, and so we want those areas to look like petals. Now if you run into a place like right here where the water's color is starting to run, just blot it out. This paper that we're using should work well for that, depending on what paper I'm using this year. I'm just going to get a little of that out. It's too much watercolor for me in there. And get some more. And I've got a pretty dry brush now. Since I'm working on this very wet paper, I'm using that dry brush. And you can see how that color really runs as I paint it, because the water is already kind of saturated in the paper. And I'm using these brush strokes almost in the Sumi-e fashion of trying to just hint at the petals. All right, so there's kind of how those should look. Now I'm going to get this last one here with just the red orange in this little area. All right, now we're going to work on the grasses down at the bottom. Now these grasses, you can see I've tried to make nice long elegant grasses coming out, and I've done that with this nylon bristle brush, kind of in that Sumi-e fashion of pressing down and looking for pressure. So I'm going to need to go back to my greens and mix up a few different greens. All right, so I'll get some fresh water here and make a few washes of green. So here's my yellow green, and I can probably actually just put that yellow green into my old green here and use that. I have this one left over here that I can use for regular green, so I'm going to get some regular green and put that in. And then I want to have a bluish green. So I'm going to take my sky color and put some just regular green into it. So it's a little darker. Now I've got this blue-green that's actually in my color set here, and I'm going to get some of that and put it in as well, and that's just going to make a blue-greenish color. So I've got 3 greens, a variety of greens. Now I'm going to paint those in, and I'm going to use this Sumi-e style. So if you watch this, I'm going to get this green, and I want to make sure that this area of my painting is really nice and dry so that the watercolor doesn't run together too badly. Okay, now I'm going to get this, and I'm going to hold my brush this direction, and I'm going to actually stroke from the bottom and going out like this. Okay, you can see how that brush stroke looks. All right, and here's another brush stroke, and there it is. I'm going to do a couple more, stroking out, and actually I'm finding that I don't like to use that wash. I'm just using this wet color right out of my pan here. So I'm just going to kind of dip into this pan and get my next couple strokes going this way. Now you're going to have to deal with your flowers that are in the middle, which is fine. You're just going to have to be thoughtful of those. Now I'm going to get this bluish green, and I wanted the bluish green here to be my stem. So I'm going to take this stem down, a stem here, and bring it down that way. Stem here for this flower, and a stem here for this flower. Okay, so that all my stems are kind of matching. And then I'm going to add some more greens in for my grass back here. To kind of fill that area in. And notice how I'm having a lot of the grasses crossing over. So in that way I'm kind of not following my Sumi-e. So there's the grasses in with the poppies, and now I'm going to fill in the browns in the middle. I'm going to use this brush, the nylon bristle brush, so I've got more control over it because I don't want the colors to run too extremely. Okay, so here's the brown in the center. Brown in the center. And then black in the center. Okay. And that's kind of what that's going to look like. And now if you want to go back, oops, I almost forgot. Here's my little bud there. And you can notice how that red kind of blends in there. And now at this point, if you want to and you have time, you can go back with your brush and maybe do some other like petally detail things. But I'm going to leave mine just for the sake of fluidity, because I kind of like how that looks. So that's done. Notice how the sky has dried, and we've got some of that coloring where I splashed in the blue, as well as the background here with the green grasses are kind of relaxed looking, and then the grasses coming out of that. At the end, make sure you take your palette and clean it off. Make sure it's nice and neat, and everything gets put away nicely where they should be. It is your own personal job to take your leftover paper towels and clean up your palette. It is the palette person's job to just put them away vertically so that they can dry nicely and they're not too much of a mess. Okay, make sure that you put your brushes back in the correct brush containers. So we've got the nylon bristle brushes separate from the regular bristle brushes, the natural bristle brushes, so that everything is nicely, neatly put away. Please wash the brushes too so that they are clean and neat for the next class. And that concludes how to finish your poppy flower Mother's Day painting.